Shout out to Mark, who has been on the pod, a friend of the pod, for this beautiful Kelsey jersey that I'm trying to unsuccessfully show. But there you go. Kelsey, Travis Kelsey, shout out. Yes, I did, well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna duck it. I did, call out Kelsey a couple times this season. And I don't take anything back. But hey, he got it done. He got the job
He
done.
needed it.
And yeah, I guess I'm a Kelsey guy now. I got his jersey. I can't say anything bad about him.
Well, he said in one of his interviews, right? He said that Sam lit a fire under him with some of his comments. I think that's a
Yep.
quote from the press conference.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it
No, I
needed to
remember
happen
watching
for
that.
it to get done.
Yeah, shout out to him for shouting out the pod. We appreciate it. But no, we got more than just Super Bowl stuff to talk about. We got a little NBA. NBA is still going on. The All Star weekend is ongoing right now. About
It's
5:30
live, yeah.
on Friday, we're watching the celebrity game, and it's pretty close. We got some last NBA stuff. I think we got a lot of stuff in the corners. There's a whole lot of corners stuff going on. And as always, shout out to Pura Vida, BetStamp, and DRF Sportsbook, as always.
I know. I wish our friends at DRF had odds on the celebrity game. Somebody get odds on the celebrity game. I will bet it if nobody else does. I don't know if we'd
um,
be making money on our Tristan Jass MVP bet.
yeah.
It's close right now. Him and Micah Parsons going toe to toe. Third quarter's almost over. I think I'm a little ahead of Sam's stream though.
Who knows? I know you're definitely a lot more invested than I am in
I'm the
in the
only
game,
one.
so the only one hanging in there, only one.
The
But
court I feel like is worth watching though. If you guys haven't seen the court they're using for the celebrity game, at least check it out because I know that the NBA they at least did a post on it. So if you go
yeah,
find the post on it, you can at least see that the court that they're using. But if you see the highlights from the game as well too, I'm sure the highlights of the court will be just as they will go down. They'll go around just as much as the highlights of the actual game itself. I mean, like I said, it's been a close game. There's been some good basketball, but the court has been the coolest thing. Do you want to see him just move to this? If you guys go and check this out, Sam, do you want to see him move to the LED court, the interactive court?
bro. They moved to it. What do you mean they moved
Like,
to it?
is that what the NBA should just go away from the
Oh,
hardwood
use it.
courts?
Use it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It is a little gimmicky. I think you can slowly start bringing it up, like put it in the All-Star game, put it maybe in some G League games, preseason games, like start testing it out. And maybe regular, some regular season games you could do like LED night or something, but definitely not in the playoffs. I think the playoffs are kind of it's just
Mm.
hallowed ground. Like you don't mess with that. That's something that's stood the test of time, 75 years. And it just yeah, don't put in the playoffs, don't put in like the NBA finals. But like, you can do it every once in a while in the regular season. I think is the most you'd probably want to see it.
And you've always been kind of a traditionalist with this stuff too, because you didn't like when we. I remember when I was showing you like the new airless basketballs that they were making.
Yeah.
I think that's a Wilson thing. You're kind of like, the old basketball is still pretty good. It works just fine. So, but I mean, some of this stuff's pretty cool. If you guys were looking at this on Spotify, obviously this is a commercial, so there is some branded stuff in here. But really, I think the big thing would be there's like they were showing some stuff where they had like the players highlighted, almost 2K style. They can almost do
Mm,
anything you could do in 2K. You could do on this interactive court. You could even
yeah.
do the plays. You could do the tracking and stuff. And it's different that it's on the court too versus being like a graphic on the game and like an overlay on the broadcast. I feel like there's something different about it too, like being on the actual court itself. But some of the stats and the tracking stuff could be pretty cool. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you could go with it. That seems like it could be pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, I would like the tech to be refined a little bit. You can see like it doesn't quite follow them perfectly, like especially for them not going at like they're not going at like professional athlete speed, like running up and down, and it's
Oh,
struggling
yeah,
to
that's
keep
fair.
up with them. So, um, Also, shout out to Jordan Spieth for getting disqualified from an invitational for signing an incorrect scorecard. Yikes.
Whoa, Speed's
Yeah.
cheating?
Yeah, I guess. I just got that on ESPN.
Speed's
That's
like, no,
random.
no, guys. Yeah, that was 3 strokes for sure.
Yeah.
Remember 1, 2, right on the green? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have cameras everywhere. uh,
You're
but
not with the
yeah,
boys,
no,
Speed.
but yeah, I don't, usually I'm a traditionalist with sports in terms of not changing the game so much that it's like completely different than years past. Now the game has improved, has changed, so that it is tough to compare eras. But to do it to the point of LEDs, you have flashing lights, it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's a lot to just suddenly change it. So I think it's a good idea. I think it just should be gradually added so it gets fans used to it. Because fans don't like change either.
Maybe we're stepping on a little corner we'll do later because there's some NBA tech stuff that they showed today. We're recording this Friday night. I mean, we said we're recording this during the celebrity game as well too, but I don't think Sam has seen it yet. So if you guys don't know, I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later. But the NBA tech stuff is pretty cool, and I think it is a weird thing for the NBA because some of especially with the NFL playoffs, some of the number stuff that has just been coming out in the conversation around where these leagues are at as a thing. Like if the NBA is trying to obviously continue to progress as a league, and I think its hierarchy in the sports zeitgeist is fine, but there's the bigger entertainment zeitgeist and then the money. Obviously, we'll see with the media rights deal that's about to happen in a year or two. But the tech stuff that the NBA can do, does it feel better than the tech stuff that the NFL can do? Because I mean, just the court, for example, the NFL can't really do it in that way. They have been doing stuff on the broadcast though, because I don't know if you've watched this, but like the Thursday night broadcast on Amazon, they have an alternate version called, I think it's Prime Vision, where they do like a Madden style. They'll track the routes on like a pass play. They'll have a graphic of all the routes where the receivers run. It's shot in all 22 as well too, so it's backed up a little bit. It's pretty cool. I always watch the games on the Prime Vision angle, so they have been doing stuff with that. But could the NBA have a little bit of an edge in the tech stuff?
I mean, it's easier to do stuff with the NBA because it's a smaller area, smaller court. You're inside all the time. Like, there are dome
That's a good point
stadiums,
too.
but you're
Yeah,
always inside.
you couldn't do
Um,
it in like Chicago at Soldier Field,
yeah, you're just
Green
leaving
Bay.
tech out. Well, and I think you could. It would just be it'd be harder to figure out. And I mean, the
No, like in that
NBA,
playoff game, the playoff game you guys played against the Dolphins, the court or the field would just be frozen. The LEDs wouldn't turn on. It's
oh,
like
God.
negative 40.
Yeah, it's true.
we
Yeah, yeah,
don't have no field.
no, for sure. And I definitely, for me, I mean, first of all, I need to check out this Prime Vision, for some games because that's crazy. But
Write it down.
I do think that for the NBA, like they are pushing for to be in the cutting edge of tech just because they're looking for a significant increase in their TV deals. They have to do more to be that attractive to warrant that kind of cost. With the NFL doesn't really have to. They're pretty much the only thing people turn on TVs for to watch live. And so the NBA actually has to put in the work, and that's why we've seen them also do VR. We've seen them. I think they're also better with advanced stats in terms of tracking. Because they're tracking distances for like players, stuff like that. I'm not saying the NFL doesn't, but I know the NBA is a lot more meticulous about specific stats, and I think that's some of the tech that we haven't even really seen in terms of the information that NBA teams get, stats and stuff going on with people. I mean, that's just stats we never see. So I think there's a lot of tech going on with both sports, but I think the NBA is more invested in improving their tech and improving and changing up their broadcast and making it more interactive because they have to work that much harder to triple their next TV deal.
It's crazy because I feel like the NFL, like you're saying, the NBA has to do this tech stuff to be at the the cutting edge. They're trying to be at the front of everybody's mind and, trying to get in the news. But the NFL is just like, well, if we just have the biggest celebrity in the world date one of our players,
Yeah.
we'll just have an extra 300 mil. I mean, the NBA, they tried like a Kardashian thing there for a while, a Jenner Kardashian thing. They didn't go the next. Good. They didn't go the next level up. They needed Taylor Swift in the NBA.
She still can be. Who do you think she would date?
Do I want to call it now?
Ben Simmons?
Oh no, I don't think so. The greatest tight end of all time to Ben Simmons. It would have to be a good player.
Yeah. Tatum?
I feel like isn't Tatum like a happy guy though? Isn't Tatum a family man?
I don't know. Is he?
I haven't seen his girl. You're breaking up your favorite teams. You're breaking up Kelsey and Swift and Tatum's families.
I don't know if I've seen Tatum's girlfriend. I'm trying to think who it.
I mean, I know he's got a kid.
Yeah, exactly. Doncic? Luka Doncic?
Doncic? Okay.
I think it's power enough. You can see he's got that wrist. No, he's too young. He's really young. That gap. You got to think about the age, man.
Giannis is Giannis is like a.
Yeah,
Giannis
he's
is not
married.
single, right?
All that.
Giannis got the belt.
She's 34. I'm trying to think 34. So we're thinking like Curry age, like Clay's not enough. She needs a little.
Clay's not bad. Clay's a good time.
Yeah, but she needs a little bit more personality, a little more. Rocco? Clay. Yeah, Rocco could make up for it.
You get Clay and Rocco?
Okay, Clay and Rocco.
That's the thing. The package deal is crazy. You get both of them?
I'm trying to think. I'm kind of stumped. How old is Jokic?
Chris Paul?
Or is he married? He's happily married. No, Chris Paul is also happily married. I think Russ. Yeah, Russ is happily married.
A lot of family men in the NBA.
Yeah, there are. There are. Shout out LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron. Is that just the trend?
Yeah,
I guess that's probably not a trend.
All right, we need to get back to the main event. The main thing y'all came here to see, though, and that is that the Chiefs became the first back-to-back Super Bowl champions in 19 years, beating the 49ers last week, 25-22. And, Rem, I honestly, there was at halftime, I wasn't sure. It was a one-score game, but I wasn't, it was scary. The 49ers just didn't know how to continue to bury the Chiefs. They didn't take advantage of their opportunities. I don't think it's necessarily Purdy's fault, and which is the crazy part. I don't think Purdy has to be thrown in the bus. I think Jimmy G played significantly worse than Purdy did in this game, comparing the two Super Bowls. But when you look at, I think, maybe a little bit of the play calling. They did get away from the run a lot. Let's see, when we look at some of those earlier possessions,
So you weren't confident in the first half? Because you guys weren't playing good. And then the thing, so you guys weren't playing good in the first half, but I didn't bet on the money line either because I wasn't sure. So I didn't want to influence it either way because I didn't want to bet on the Chiefs and then jinx it for our guy Sam. But I mean, the Niners, like you said, they couldn't bury the Chiefs. They couldn't pull away. So it's 10-3 at halftime, and the Chiefs haven't really done anything. And as long as it's still within that one drive, it's like, okay, Mahomes is probably going to get the one drive at some point in this game. Now, the problem is, in the moment for that game, the second half starts, Mahomes comes out and then throws a pick on the first drive of the second half. So that was kind of the moment where I was like, the one moment in the game where I was like, you know what? Maybe this doesn't happen for the Chiefs, especially if the Niners are able to do something right here. And of course they weren't. And the Chiefs get the ball back. Again, the game stalled out. But I mean, you're a Chiefs fan too, so you're probably a little extra nervous. But I don't know. The two Super Bowls before this, you were down 10. So down 10 before that, and then 10-3 going into halftime. This is just your thing. This is what you guys do now.
Yeah, I guess Mahomes has to be down by 10 points in every single Super Bowl he ever goes in before he actually starts
He
trying to
just
win
spots
stuff.
him 10 every time.
Yeah, he's like, let me help you out. But yeah, I think after this Super Bowl, I think before this Super Bowl, before winning the Super Bowl, there was, when you look at his resume, you're like, okay, this is great, but this isn't, you're not quite putting him in all time, like top three, top five. But him winning three Super Bowls in 5 years, three Super Bowl MVPs, tied with Joe Montana. And then the way they did it, I think the best stat I saw or heard was since 2018, Chiefs are 5-2 in trailing by 10 or more points in playoff games, and the rest of the NFL is 8-55. I think
Whoa.
also, yeah, he's third already in most playoff games won, and losing just once in regulation. And that's the thing. You look at the other people who are doing it. Mahomes gets to 15 wins, and he's still only 28 years old. And you look at Brady. It took him till he was 34. I mean, that's another 6 years for him. Montana till he was 37. And the crazy part is that what Mahomes is doing, his insane great play is translating into wins. It's translating into Super Bowls. And you look at the other greats, and when they were at their greatest, they weren't winning Super Bowls. I mean, Brady had almost a decade where he didn't win a Super Bowl, and those were his best years when he went nearly undefeated. When he had I think was it 49-4, 50-4, some
Yeah.
crazy insane
The
ratio.
07.
Yeah, the 07 season when he had those great years with Randy Moss and Montana as well. It wasn't until near the end of later in his career, once he took a little bit of a roll back, that he won his Super Bowls. So right now, Mahomes, with the amount of winning that he has done, I mean, he has, again, like you look at even the playoff passing touchdowns. He has 41 before his 29th birthday. The next closest one is Brett Favre at 23. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, you look at how his winning percentage, just how he regularly wins in the playoff, and no one does it this well, playing this well ever. And, his achievements right now at 28 years old, his resume is good enough to be in the top three. And I mean, no one was even close to this ever before.
So he retires a Hall of Famer right now?
Oh, easily. He retired even if he would retire as a Hall of Famer even if he lost. The point is whether how it's like now the 2K thing we were already talking about it, of him working towards that GOAT status. And at 28 years old, at the high pace he's at, he's already, if he retires right now, I think he has a resume to be easily a top three quarterback of all time. And then, and that only reason why I put him at three is, you could argue with Joe Montana, not in terms of skill, but resume, it's kind of exactly the same. But in terms of actual skill, I mean, it's quite clearly the GOAT. And I think he's well on his way to pass Brady if he continues at this rate. And I mean, he's already playing better than Brady did to get to those Super Bowls. Even though, Brady's first Super Bowl, maybe a game manager, the other couple of ones, he did get better. But the rate that Mahomes is playing, he's carrying these teams. And those are things that, not doing it better than anyone else has ever done before.
I'm going to commit right now. I'm going to try to go and watch as much of the Joe Montana Super Bowls as I possibly can, because I was looking at some of the stats, and Montana is still number one right now for quarterback ratings in Super Bowls, which means, not only is he getting to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowls, but he's playing well in the Super Bowls. And some of the Mahomes stuff, like even in this last game, still a little up and down. I think the PFF grade on him was like a 70 some for this game. And a lot of the stuff that he was doing, on that last drive as well, too, was him using his legs scrambling. I mean, that's been the recipe for them all season as well, too. And it's, of course, all a credit to Mahomes. But as of where we stand right now, and the thing is, of course, Mahomes is on pace to be better than Montana, but that's because Mahomes right now is on pace to be better than Brady. He's on pace to be the best quarterback of all time if he keeps this up. But just as of where we stand right now, I would be curious to go and see if that passer rating thing reflects that. Like, was Montana just a straight killer in all of these games? Like, was it just start to finish? Because I know some of the games were close too.
Yeah.
And there was some dramatic. I know the conference championship games, games within those playoff runs were closer as well. And like the big Dwight Clark catch is in the NFC championship game, not the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to go and watch it. But yeah, like in the first Super Bowl against Cincinnati, 157 for a touchdown, 330, 331 and 3 touchdowns, no picks in the second one against Miami. No picks in any of the Super Bowls, it looks like. And yeah, especially in those last 3, really lit it up. And that first one again was good, just only really 22 pass attempts. Probably not a lot of offense. I bet let's see here if they ran the ball. Yeah, 17 carries for Ricky Patton.
And it would be egregious to just, go off the stats and being like, oh, see, you didn't, do that well. But I'm pretty sure, he had Dwight Clark in that first Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure he's a Hall of Famer, if I'm not wrong. I believe Dwight Clark is a Hall of Famer. He's
not a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yes. But he was
2-time Pro Bowl, one-time All-Pro. So first team All-Pro in 82.
In 82. Okay, so he's a decent player.
Good player.
Oh yeah, he had the catch. That's what I was thinking of him as a Hall of Famer.
Maybe should they put him in the Hall of Fame just for that?
And then he had Dwight Clark in that second Super Bowl as well. And then later on, just looking at
Rice, of course.
I don't see it.
The running backs.
Yeah.
We need Papa Price to help us out with the names.
Tell us who's good. Yeah.
Also, Team Shannon's going to pull away and win the celebrity game.
Yeah, but I think with Montana, it still took him till his 3rd year to win his first Super Bowl, and then he didn't win his, and it's like I said, he's right now where Mahomes is at. He's right with Montana, in my opinion. 4-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time league MVP. So, that's why I put him top 3, no argument. And obviously, I have him contending with Montana. I think he's, obviously, I think he's better. But I think in terms of his resume, I can understand why someone would have Montana above Mahomes right now.
Yeah, it's pretty close. But
yeah,
the 3-peat thing is going to be the big thing that is
first time ever
going to propel you guys to victory. But do you want to go through the game at all? I know you said you were nervous in the second half, but where did you think the Niners blew the game? Pause.
When they didn't know what the overtime rules were. This was
Have you seen the mic'd up stuff for that?
Yeah, this is something that got me kind of mad because we changed the overtime rules because the whole league is mad. And they're like, oh my gosh, the Chiefs are winning on all these games because they know the rules, blah, blah, blah. So they changed the rules for y'all. And then once you change them, now it's like, oh, I don't know what the new rules are. What's going on? It's like, what do you want? Do you want the rules to be changed or do you not want them? Either way, we're winning. And that's what I loved about winning this game is that it's like the good team, the best team is going to win. And more times than not, the talent's going to shine, and in this case, thankfully, sometimes it doesn't go, the way of the more talent. But usually, when you have a player as great as Mahomes, when I had like non-sports people watching the game being like, yeah, Mahomes was like on a different level, and they like don't watch any football. It's pretty clear, how great one team is and the other isn't. And sometimes it's those things that show what make the great teams great. When you have a team that's intentional about the details and not, willy-nilly, not even knowing what the rules of the game are. And they're like, yeah, we had a strategist who told us every single week. I'm trying to remember who said that, but someone on the Chiefs, mentioned they had a game strategist who told them every single week about the overtime rules and was like, this is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to run it. And this is what we're going to do. And the Chiefs said, I mean, even in the huddle, in the moment when they found out that they lost the coin toss for the overtime, they said we were going to, we were going to kick it anyway. And then they mentioned, even if the other team did get a touchdown, they were going to go for two. And it's not, I don't think it is them blowing smoke. Like they're just being honest. Like I think that was what they're actually going to do. So it just made me a little annoyed because it's like we made this whole changes because everyone wanted to complain about the Chiefs winning. And then, now we have the new rules and they don't even know what it is. And it's just, it was kind of a little bit disappointing from the 49ers to not even, I mean, I understand, maybe not having to go through it every single week, but at least have some idea of how the new rules work. I mean, if I'm at home knowing more about the game than you on the field, that's a problem.
So do you chalk this loss up to Shanahan then? Is that loss go to the staff and the coach for that type of mistake? Or is it is it like the special team play, the missed extra point, the muff punt?
I mean, I think it's a little bit. I mean, we did get lucky. We did get lucky in the game. I do got to admit that muff punt. That's just lucky stuff. Stuff breaks your way, and it's how it has to be to win a super. I mean, you do need stuff to break your way, and that was huge. I think, but I think also them being unprepared. That's something that you can prevent from happening. And that's something that they did it. And just having that uncertainty on your team in such a high pressure situation, I'm not saying it caused them to lose, but it definitely didn't help. When you have the other team that, is a lot more confident. And yeah, it just really surprised me, when considering that this is Shanahan's third go at it. And it may be only his second as a head coach, but considering how you lost the other two, blowing the leads and falling apart, you'd think you'd have everything, all his I's dotted and T's crossed, and he didn't, and he got caught. And I mean, I understand his decision, but if you're expecting the ball on the third try, then you kind of got to go for a touchdown no matter what on that first one. So.
In overtime?
Yeah.
On the fourth down?
Yeah. If you're expecting to get that ball back, you got to
the more I think about it, I think I agree with you because I think other good coaches probably go for that, especially against other great quarterbacks as well, too. Because I mean, anytime you're going for a fourth down in a moment like that, the game that always sticks out is that I forget what year it is. It's either 09 or 10 or something like that. But that Colts Patriots game where Belichick goes for the fourth down on like his own 25 because he doesn't want to give the ball back to Peyton Manning. Like that's probably what happens in that scenario there in the Super Bowl. Another coach like Belichick is probably more aggressive and realizes, hey, we can't kick a field goal here. Let Mahomes get the ball back, go down and score a touchdown. Like, and the thing is too, if you look at the yardage as well, it's specific to where they were at on the field. It's not like they were just going for the fourth down on their 35-yard line and the Chiefs only have to go, a short field to get a field goal to win the game. They were at like the 10-yard line. So field goal range is still probably the same yardage as touchdown range if, you kick the ball off touchback and get the ball from the 25. So going against Mahomes in that situation, I think I agree with you. That moment really hurts for Shanahan because I do think that for most of the game, this was probably a pretty well-coached game. Both the defenses played pretty well. Again, that muff punt was the only time the Chiefs scored a touchdown in regulation was off that muff punt. So they didn't really put together a touchdown drive in this game. But you can't just you gotta, like you said, you gotta bury the Chiefs. You gotta bury Mahomes. You can't give him a field goal and then say, hey, all you need to do is go down and score a touchdown because I mean, the run thing has just been a cheat code for him now the last couple of seasons. And I don't know if you watched the mic'd up thing for it at all for the Super Bowl, but I forget which one of the receivers said it on the sideline. But before the offense went out onto the field on that last drive in overtime, he was just like, this drive is going to be Mahomes running and throwing the ball to Kelsey. It's like, yeah, 100%. That's what it is. And that has been the the secret to this team when they need to get a drive and score. And again, if you're going to not be aggressive in that situation, give that team that opportunity, Mahomes is just going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and it just seemed like it was a different team for the 49ers from the first half to the second half. In the first half, they were doing all this misdirection. They were moving around. I mean, I think that first drive, even though it ended on a fumble, was kind of secretly one of their best drives in this game.
No,
I mean,
they went down the field in 4 plays.
Exactly. They were cooking. And when you look at the second half, it just seemed like they just started to pass a lot more and just started to rely on Purdy. And it's just something that Shanahan does when he's panicking is he doesn't have, in my opinion, I don't think he doesn't have really good clock management in those high pressure situations. You look at, and so in the second quarter, we look at the plays that happened. Purdy incomplete pass. Then they had a false start. Then another Purdy incomplete pass. Then he scrambled and then punt. Next 49ers drive, Purdy had a pass that was negative yards. Then he had another pass. Then he had another pass. They punt. Then the next drive, they finally gave the ball up, and then they, got stuffed. Purdy incomplete pass. Purdy incomplete pass, and then they punt. And then the next drive, they score that touchdown in the fourth. But they had an incomplete pass, and then they actually started. They run the ball. They had a screen. They had, I think, a bubble screen. Then Juszczyk ran. Then they had McCaffrey ran it twice. And then let me see here. And then they had to do a short pass to get it, a shotgun. But then they passed it, and then they ran the ball. But I think they ran the ball like half of these plays, and then that's the Juwan Jennings pass across the field to McCaffrey, who practically ran it in. So just get McCaffrey the ball and a lot more, and they're probably winning the game. But, all those 3 wasted possessions gave the Chiefs 3 chances, and they only got 3 points. But it still gave them confidence of, again, being the defense started to stop them. And, it only, I mean, again, it only because I'm trying to see here. 1, 2, 3. So they got a field goal in that, and then after that third wasted drive, that's where the Chiefs had that punt, but it was deflected. They got a lucky thing broke their way, muffed, and then that's when they got the touchdown. So it's just those 3 wasted drives allowed the Chiefs to catch up in this game and score 10 points, closing the gap to a 3-point game, and or to be up 3. And so I think those 3 drives were where when you look back in the film room, those are the times you could have made a difference as the head coach in this game. And, being up 10-3 and 10-6, that's the perfect time to rely on the run. And I'd live and die with the run with McCaffrey. Let him get stuffed and go for a 4th and short or something like that. But not having that misdirection, also not, Deebo Samuel may have been banged up a little bit, but not also having him run or Juwan Jennings, having those sweeps, going back to what was working in the first half is the reason why the Chiefs raised the Lombardi at the end of the day.
And the thing is, there was like a lot of plays in this game. So looking at some of the stats, like, it's hard to say McCaffrey should have gotten more touches because he had 22 carries in this game and 8 targets, 8 receptions for
make it 30. It's a Super
80
Bowl.
yards. So that is 30 carries altogether, but it's still like Deebo Samuel, 11 targets. But like you're saying, that first drive, McCaffrey, they moved the ball. There was parts of that, early in that first drive as well, or earlier in those early drives in the first half where they were moving the ball running. And then that receiving play, like you said, but also in overtime, the drive that sets up the drive where they go for the field goal, the big play on that drive is a swing out to McCaffrey. McCaffrey goes down the sideline for like 25, 30 yards. I forget, who ends up pushing him out of bounds. It might have been Snead at that point. But again, when McCaffrey got the ball, he was electric in this game. So I don't know if you have to go 35, 40 touches. But the thing was, too, if you go back and look at some of the Purdy stuff, just with the pressure that he was getting to, the interior pressure from guys like Chris Jones and Fataport pointed this out as well, too, on the Tuesday pod, that Purdy was just missing some of those downfield throws. Another throw, like Fataport pointed out, was on that final drive where Chris Jones up the middle. Purdy overthrows Jennings, who was kind of open there. And, they pick up yardage. Maybe that is the play, too, that they end up scoring a touchdown on. So, maybe give our guy Shanahan a little bit of credit for drawing up that play. But some of this, maybe they definitely maybe should have done a little more of that side-to-side passing game stuff with McCaffrey because, it worked when they went to it. And 22 carries. Maybe throw in some more screens.
Even if Purdy's tired, that's why you have Elijah Mitchell. He's a solid running back. And there's no reason George Kittle should only have 3 targets. Have some bubble screen, have something, have him hit zone, go downhill. He's a huge guy, very physical, and he was so underused in this game. And I really think there was a big opportunity for them to, use some bubble screens, use some side-to-side action because they got the lead. They did, the first half. I think that was a win for them. How much it went up, even though it was 1 score, it was definitely manageable. It was enough of a gap for them to make it grow just because of how well they handled the Chiefs offense. They only did score 3 points in the first half. They almost went scoreless. And so for them to come out of the half in that way it was just disappointing. And that's why it's another 3-point win for the Chiefs. They squeak out, another 3-point Super Bowl win for the Chiefs. They squeak out another one. And, but it never felt like it was really in doubt.
It did feel kind of like the season finale where there was like too many. You could just like see it. You were like, checking the runtime to see how much time's left on the episode. And just they're like, there is too many storylines for them to wrap up here at the end of this show. Like, there is definitely going to be some stuff going into next season. Like, that's kind of what this felt like, where, again, like the Chiefs just kind of stumble into all of these wins in the postseason, and Mahomes does clutch up. It is, a lot of people have said this too over the week, so it's not a new thing, but it is that Brady thing where you just, find a way to get past all of these teams, make the play, make the drive at the end of the game to get it done. But did you see the Steve Wilkes thing for the Niners at all? Steve Wilkes news that they have let Steve Wilkes go. I don't know if that was today or yesterday, but I know a lot of people didn't like that as well. Stephen A was really upset about that. And I didn't hear what Shanahan said. So I feel like somebody had said that maybe there was philosophical differences in there, but I didn't really feel like their defense played bad in this game. And like we said, the moments that really led to them, losing points were the play on special teams and then the blocked extra point as well, too, where they have a chance to go up by 4, a touchdown. Instead, they only go up by 3. And then, of course, the Chiefs, they only need a field goal. That's what they end up getting at the end of the game. So who knows how that ends up switching things up. So I don't know. We're not the type of podcast that starts calling for people's jobs, but it felt like the special teams was more of the place where I thought there was more moments on the special teams where they're more costly moments than the defense anyways. So I don't know what that means for the Niners going into next season, but has your standing on Shanahan moved at all after this game?
No, I knew he choked at the big moment, and he continues to do so. So,
but
it's the third one in a row.
But can he be like the second best head coach in the league then? I'm not saying but you just like, well, he's not going to win the Super Bowl. Like you are predetermined that that's not going to happen. So can he still be a top coach? Like how is he? If he's not going to win a big game, then how is he not just like a good offensive mind?
Yeah, no, he is. He is a really good offensive mind. The 49ers, they've had this problem is that they've won a lot of games. Like in terms of they've won a lot of, they've been to the conference championship the last couple of years. They've been to the Super Bowl in the last, twice in the last 5 years. They've been in all these moments, meaning they've won a lot of games. They have done a lot, and it's just it's just tough to get rid of a coach like that because they're hard to find. They're hard, and even if they may not get to that extra level, and it's like, Reid definitely did not outcoach Shanahan. It is not because of Reid that they won this game. I think that's pretty clear. You see, like,
Really?
yeah, and I think in that second half, like, people who were really watching were mentioning, Mahomes changed a lot of stuff at the line, did change up plays. You saw him once he started running, which is the thing. Mahomes always need every time it gets serious. If he really wants to win it, if he really wants to go a step above, his most special plays are when he is scrambling. Same way with the Super Bowl last year when he scrambled and there was that one tackle and you didn't know if his leg was twisted. I mean, that's pretty much where it turned around. And here as well, there's that fourth down and he ran it, that option out wide and he ran it and he got the first down. So, you know, when he takes the game over by running, by scrambling, that's when there's real issues because now the linebackers can't, essentially have their backs to him and focusing on all the passes, in the middle. And it just creates one more issue. So, I mean, I know in the first half they were talking about them being disciplined with keeping him in the pocket, the deep line. But I think, people were mentioning that they get tired. And, also, I mean, they're trying to keep him contained in there, but he can also go up the middle. And I think Mahomes just realized, it's now or nothing at this point. So I think with Mahomes, I mean Reid versus Shanahan. I mean, I think Shanahan in the first half coached an excellent game. I just
Yeah.
think that Mahomes just went to another level in the second half, and it was definitely not because of Reid. I mean, Kelsey got so mad at him, he almost knocked him over.
Well, Kelsey was just fired up. He was out of the game at that point. And Pacheco fumbles. I don't know what Kelsey could necessarily, maybe he blocks a guy that doesn't get to Pacheco or whatever, but that just felt more like guys being fired up about trying to win the game. But I don't know if you could necessarily take the quarterback checking plays away as like a discredit to Andy Reid necessarily. I think that's part of the game, right? Where the quarterback's going to go out there and see what the defense is looking like. And if they're going to give, if another look is going to be more successful, a good coach is going to let the quarterback check to the right place. So I think you have to give credit to Andy Reid for that. And I thought, especially that last drive as well, too. You said Mahomes does all the damage with his legs, Pause. Like that 4th and 1 on that final drive that was basically like a triple option play. I think that's what they said on the broadcast as well, too. But I mean, that's a Mahomes run play. That's a perfect play call from Andy Reid, and then the touchdown as well, too. I thought was a perfect play call. So I think maybe some of the first half stuff was you could question it or whatever, but the Niners defense was really flying around there too. Like they called, that early screen to Kelsey. The linebackers are just all over it. Fred Warner, like you said,
every screen bubble didn't get anyone.
I mean, yeah, it's useless. It's Fred Warner. It's the best linebacker in the league. So there's a lot of stuff he's gonna make look bad as a play caller. But so Mahomes is like the obvious thing then that's ascended to you after this game then over Andy Reid, because as we're like we're doing this past week too, especially after the Super Bowl, a lot of the legacy stuff has been going around with Mahomes and Brady, and I don't know. So yeah, again, Mahomes is definitely the one versus Reid that has gotten the big legacy boost out of this game.
I think so, yeah, because I think it's him who won the game. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like when Brady loved Belichick. Belichick again is a good coach, but you could see that it was the quarterback pushing most of that engine in with the Patriots. And I think the similar thing is here. I mean, Reid usually puts him in a position to win, gives him the plays, gives him the tools. But in this game, to get to that extra level to beat this all-star team, it definitely was a lot more of Mahomes taking over the game, and that, especially that overtime drive where he just willed them to win. He was just gonna win, and I'm not saying Reid didn't have anything to do with it, but I wouldn't sit here today and be like Shanahan is definitely or is worse coach than Reid because of this game. It's just Reid definitely he was there to support, but even with that run play, the beauty of that run play is that Mahomes decides. Mahomes decides what option they go with. I mean, so it's kind of like you pick your own adventure kind of play because
Yeah.
Mahomes can literally do anything on the play. You can pass it out, you can throw it. So it's on him to make that play happen. So yeah, Reid called it, but it's kind of pretty much saying screw it, you do whatever you want. Like he called a free play for a wild card of a play for Mahomes. So I just think Reid definitely he did help, but there's a reason Spags is getting that extension, and I think it's pretty clear that Spags is the one just pretty much doing all the defensive stuff. I think it's pretty clear Reid doesn't touch that at all. And so then you look at the offense side, and you're like, well, Mahomes is the one, making these decisions of scrambling. I think one of the good plays that Reid did call, there was an intentional scramble for Mahomes in that second half. And I don't know if that was Mahomes. I don't know if that was the play from Reid. I don't know if it was from the sideline. But if it was, that was a good call because I think you could see he was in a rhythm. And like the 49ers were a little bit of, there's no way he's actually going to scramble. And he did. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't, again, I don't have anything against Reid. I'm not trying to get rid of him or anything. He's a great coach. But I think Mahomes, this is definitely a Mahomes game.
It's the thing that I keep thinking about with this legacy stuff for Mahomes and Brady. And again, this is very like where we're at right now because a lot of this stuff too is projecting that the Mahomes success is going to continue and that the accolades are going to continue to pile up. But I mean, and again, this is not new. We've talked about this before, but the success that Reid has had without Mahomes versus the success that Belichick has had without Brady, it is drastically different. Like Reid was in conference championship games and in Super Bowls. And again, I get Mahomes can do things on a football field that Tom Brady just can't. Again, with the mobility and the scrambling, there's just an extra dynamic there. So it's just, what does the entirety of the career look like? But is Mahomes' system a little bit better than Brady's? Like, would Brady have a better career under Andy Reid versus Bill Belichick?
I don't know if I don't know because Belichick was more of a defensive guy, so he was the defensive side, and so
it's the combo of Reid and Spags. Then it's the duo of them together.
Exactly. Well, and then that's Brady having to figure out his own place. But I think Mahomes' system is a bit better because of the work Reid puts into it to look up these plays, to continue being creative and being ahead of the curve, even when they're out here saying the, what the plays are on live TV, being able to create new stuff and then have specific plays that they practice over and over again in practice that they break out for these big moments. And we've seen, each year there's a special play that, either unlocks the defense or makes a special thing. And it's the same way with the first Super Bowl is the 3rd and 15. With the second Super Bowl, it was exploiting the Eagles' rules on their zone coverage with their cornerbacks. And this Super Bowl, it was, that final play, the Tom and Jerry play. So there's always some design, and that's why I can't take away anything from Reid. But if Shanahan was the head coach of the Chiefs, are they a better team? And I don't know.
They're not.
It's something to think about sometimes.
There's no way you can say that. You're the Chiefs fan.
We're just getting greedy. We're getting greedy at this point, But I mean, you look at Reid with those Super Bowls. I mean, he had McNabb, a Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure Donovan McNabb's a Hall of Fame. I did not put him.
I think Reid McNabb is very, very talented in his own right. But again, McNabb benefited very much from having Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid kind of propelled him a little bit more than he needed to. And McNabb is kind of on the edge, but
he's been nominated every year, but never made it.
How many years now?
Wait.
Can you look up his Hall of Fame monitor quick?
How do you see that?
I'll see if I can find it. I know Mahomes is already, I think, past him, of course, but
he was thrown. He gave out a thing. I mean, Reid is the better head coach, but it's one of those things you think about somebody.
And I could see in the bigger picture thing too, the Brady, Belichick, Reid stuff. I could see it being like, hey, you need the Spagnuolo combo. Because if you're saying, so are you saying Shanahan gets Spags? Are you saying it's just a Reid for Spag swaps, or are they swapping stabs?
Because
then you still get the boost of the defense, like you're saying, which I mean, he got the extension, so the credit is he's getting the credit.
The development of Karlaftis and McDuffie is insane. It's insane. It's such beautiful development.
Would you trade McDuffie for Tyreek Hill? Right now?
Right now?
Because looking back, that was kind of the trade. And I know there's a couple of extra picks and pieces, but Karlaftis, you guys snagged with your own pick that year in the first round. But McDuffie, you got from that trade with the Dolphins. Would you do that trade 1-for-1? No extra pieces.
I know the right answer is yes.
Is it?
But McDuffie is really. I mean, he was excellent in that game.
McDuffie's a first-team All-Pro, and he's on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
I don't know what the right answer is.
Tyreek Hill is still Tyreek Hill, though. That was MVP talk for him when he wasn't hurt.
But it's incredible that you guys did you win the trade? You've won 2 Super Bowls without him.
Exactly. That's the point. We won 2 Super Bowls since we traded him. So, and that's the only reason why you get up in the day as a NFL front office person.
And Tyreek Hill is maybe like one of the 4 most dynamic receivers of all time. He's like maybe on the Mount Rushmore of game-breaking receivers. And I kind of agree with you. That trade is close.
Yeah.
That is like a long dog. And again, with the way you're just the Mahomes factor and the fact that he's going to elevate everybody around you, and you go, okay, like they're doing right now, let's stack the defense. I don't know what the right move is. The rookie contract?
Rashee Rice having the most receptions by a rookie in the postseason.
By the way, on the Hall of Fame monitor, Jim Kelly is the shout out to Jim Kelly too. This is no disrespect. This is just I'm just reading the numbers. I love Jim Kelly, but he is a 59.1 on the Hall of Fame monitor. That's the lowest of any Hall of Fame quarterback. Let me double check. Oh no, wait. Oh, is there one more? Maybe an older guy? No, that's the lowest at 59.1, and McNabb is at 56.1. So he's just a couple underneath him. It'll be close.
Make it, but so
there's some good names above him. Lamar's above him already. They got like Daryl LaMonica, Boomer, Theismann.
Boomer. Oh, hey Boomer. We'll see. I don't know, but either way, it's still a really good quarterback.
But also,
what's his face? And Belichick still hasn't gotten one since he left. Since he had Mac Jones, who they believed in, but it's not quite Donovan McNabb.
Also, for that 22 class for the Chiefs, McDuffie was your first pick. You took Karlaftis, Leo Chanel, which PFF had him graded out as the highest graded player from the Super Bowl. You also took Brian Cook, who was injured for the back half of the season, but is a starter for you when he plays. So that's 4 starters on defense, and then Pacheco as well too in that draft, all in the 22 draft.
That's crazy. Which year was that? 2021?
2022 draft.
Oh, 22.
So 2 full drafts ago.
Yeah.
3 after this one, yeah. Also on the Spagnuolo thing quickly as well too. I went through it and looked. So if I'm wrong, please DM and fact check us. But I think he's the first coordinator to win a Super Bowl on two different teams.
I think
he would have already done that last year, but now to get the multiple Super Bowl as well too. He only got one with the Giants, but one with the Giants, 2 with the Chiefs now.
Yeah.
I know the people were already floating best coordinator around all time, talk for him. And it's close too, because you get guys like Belichick. So Belichick, Mike Shanahan, and Gary Kubiak all won 2 Super Bowls, both as a coordinator and a head coach, but not like, multiple Super Bowls as a coordinator. So just as a coordinator now, I mean, the Spad things is kind of a cheat code. I feel like Spags for the defense and Ben Johnson for the offense for the Lions are like the two biggest coordinator advantages in the league. And I
Yeah,
could be
Ben
I could be
Johnson is
forgetting
gonna be
somebody.
insane.
Yeah, the fact that the Lions retained him is a big deal for the
An actual miracle.
I think that's also says something about some of the other coaching jobs that were available at this time. But I guess that's a who scares you the most right now? Looking at the 3P.
Mm. Well, odds do have the 49ers above us.
For what?
I don't know. Maybe not the DF.
Is that because you guys aren't going to re-sign Chris Jones? Like what is Vegas? What does Vegas know?
Is Kelsey's contract up too, or is it just her? We better sign her, Jones.
I don't think Kelsey, but Chris Jones is a free agent, and Snead is a free agent as well. A couple other guys, Mike Edwards, Willie Gay, Michael Dana.
Mike Edwards? Wow, he was big in this game.
Yeah. I think he was only on a 1-year deal, but he was clutch for you this year.
Yeah.
Snead and Jones, though, both as free agents is kind of tough.
Snead and Jones?
Both?
I don't know. It's just, our team's going to definitely have some new faces next year.
Was that there?
Or maybe they need to pull a Warriors and just run it all back.
Does a Hunt family have that kind of money?
Who knows? Also, speaking of families, just wanted to take a quick moment to mention to honor a person who died at the Chiefs Super Bowl parade. Elizabeth Lopez Gallon, mother of two, local DJ at a local radio, and really saddened to hear about it. KKFI is the radio station she was at. The show she had, Taste of Tejano. They actually have a great Facebook page. I would recommend looking up. They got the Reyes Family Fund there. You can go support the family.
Is there a fund?
Taylor Swift. Yeah, shout out to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce donating $100,000.
We'll drop the link in the bio
link. But there's some I really like the page because they reposted some funny videos of her. You can see her in action, being part of the show, being part of life, and I mean it's just random. She's just mother of two doing her thing, and she went to the game. Also prayers out to I think it was 10 or 11 kids who were injured at the shooting and everyone else who was hurt. I don't think 22 injured. I don't think there's anyone at least none of the children are in critical condition. But yeah, also shout out to the Chiefs fans who tackled one of the two shooters. I think there's 3 in total actually, and 2 of them are juveniles. So they're moving forward with that case. But they're happy that they caught him. But yeah, just sad to see that happened in the first place. And it's too bad. It's really sorry. It's a person now.
Man, there's not a whole lot I think that can even be said in a thing like this happens. It really does suck when these type of things get like these marks go against these type of things now, where I mean this is not a new thing, but like kids going to school for who knows how long. I don't even know when the first big one I don't even want to start naming them out and start getting stuff wrong, but that was probably even a decade ago at this point now.
Yeah.
Or at least, for in my memory when that happened. So now that's, a decade now of kids going to school, looking over their shoulder, people always having conversations about we might actually have to do something and make changes to make these events safe or, in these environments safe. And the sporting events have always been kind of a thing where, you don't even want to talk about this kind of stuff because you don't even want to start putting stuff in people's heads. But the sporting event stuff has always been a thing where it's just, you want people to be able to go to these gatherings and have this many people in one spot, and for not have people to look over their shoulder and feel like they're unsafe, and now, feel like now kids are in danger too. Kids are getting hurt. Kids are getting wounded at a thing that's supposed to be, again, safe and for families and a celebratory thing. And now, again, like we're saying, the school thing has become that experience is totally shifted. And that's what that it sucks, but that's what's happening now too here with this is going forward. These things are just going to be different. And I don't even know if you can take a moment of silence on a podcast, but this would be the type of event you would do it for, because this just, like we're saying, incredibly sad that this type of celebratory thing a moment like this has to happen.
Yeah, and I do believe it was either 7 or 8 year anniversary of the Parkland shooting on that day last week. And looking at the details, so it
That's
was
crazy.
2 juveniles who were charged. It seemed like there was a dispute among several people, but it looks like out of the 22, half were under the age of 16, and all were under the age of 47. It looks like 9 of the kids were treated for gunshot wounds. And only 3 have not been discharged yet, and they should all recover it from those 3 children who haven't been discharged. So, thankfully, no one else was hurt. It seems like everyone is recovering from it, but maybe they're recovered physically, but there's just that mental taxing. And the worst part is that there were police there. I mean, I guess that's not the worst part, but the worst part is that there were police there and this still happened. They were all over the
I get
place.
what
They
you're
were
saying. Yeah.
patrolling. And, this is not a shot at the police, but it's just a reminder that it can happen no matter what, no matter what precautions that happen, there's something like this could always happen once, if people have access to guns and stuff like that. And, yeah, it's gonna be, it's just one of those, it's just a reminder every once in a while. And it's, the mental shock for the people who weren't even involved with this. You have a lot of kids at this event who, this is their only chance to see their heroes, and they just saw them, and, they're going home. I mean, this was near the end of the parade, and then they have to literally run for their lives. So, yeah, prayers out, to the families, people involved, and, gotta get rid of these guns, man.
Hug your loved ones. You never know. It's just like you're saying, you go to a Super Bowl event, and you just there's a ton of people at this event too. So it's just the people at the event standing in the wrong spot at the wrong time. You never know. So just be good people. I don't know. It's crazy to just be like, hey, can we just like not do that? But
pretty simple. Pretty simple. But yeah, prayers out.